And welcome again to Wednesday night Bible study at Mayfield Drive Baptist Church. Oh, I'm sorry, Wednesday brain. Yeah. So anyways, I'm Jeremy. I'll be your presenter today. Yay, I know. And we're starting a new book today. We're just doing the intro to Mark, and just gonna who he was, stuff like that, you know, and we'll get right into chapter 1 next week. So feel free to follow along in your Bibles. I was going to say, the notes contained in today's lesson are taken from Brother Garner's commentary that online sources agree with, but without any references to scriptures or So it made sense in my brain when I wrote it. All of the references that talk about Mark online did not include any references in the Bible to what they were saying, and a lot of it was just straight tradition on what they were saying. There's a lot of things that people say about Mark that aren't found anywhere in the Bible.
Or as we call it now, or as people in modern day fandoms call it nowadays, headcanons.
Headcanons, yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So we're going to focus strictly on what the Bible supports, what the Bible tells us about Mark. There's still a lot of information about Mark. I did not realize, and I know back when we did our study on Paul, Mark was mentioned as one of the disciples that didn't go with Paul to one of his journeys, which he later followed. He followed him on. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about how I didn't realize that Mark was Barnabas's nephew. So, you know, if I had been reading more carefully, it would have made sense. But, you know, sometimes your brain just glosses right over the information, and it's not pertinent to what you need to understand at that point. But that's why we do studies, because sometimes things, when you're just reading it to be reading it, sometimes if you're even reading it to understand it, some of the details just gloss right over. We read it and we're like, whoop, next subject. And we miss on a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about tonight. That is the sole focus of why I wanted to do a study on the Gospels. And we're going to continue on into, after we're done with Mark, we're going to move on to Luke. We've already done John and Matthew in the previous services. You can find those in the Mayfield Drive YouTube channel, the Gospel of Christ channel. I don't know what the rest of the address is, a bunch of numbers after our name, but anyways. You can, binge on that if you're, really bored and you just want to see me and you like humor. So, with that being said, any and all tongue-in-cheek comments are compliments of yours truly. And, of course, those in the audience also. So, who's writing? Oh, well, who was Mark? I mean, Mark wrote the Gospel according to Mark. It makes sense, right? But who was Mark? His given name was John. That was his Hebrew name. And his Latin surname was Mark. So he was known as John Mark. But we mostly just call him Mark, right? He was the son of Mary, the sister of Barnabas, not Barabbas. Barabbas, we don't talk about him anymore. We're going to talk about him, later on in Gospel of Mark, but, just briefly. But he was the son of Mary, the sister of Barnabas. Barnabas was one of the evangelists. He was one of the disciples. And we're not going to go much into him. But if you look at Acts chapter 12, verse 12, and when he had considered the thing, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. Hey, sisters.
Hi.
How y'all doing? Glad you could join us. Mom said you wouldn't be here. I don't know. It's no faith, I tell you. That's rude. How you doing, sweet? Sorry, that guest coming in. And if we look at Colossians chapter 4, verse 10, Aristarchus, my fellow prisoner, saluteth you, and Marcus, sister's son to Barnabas, which means that was Barnabas' nephew, touching whom ye received commandments, if he come unto you, receive him. Okay, so that tells us that Barnabas was Mark's uncle, because he was the sister of Mary, his mom. That's usually how the uncle-auntie thing happens, you know.
He was the what?
Who was what?
He was the
Who's the he?
Barnabas was
Barnabas was Mary's brother, hence he was Mark's uncle.
That's not what you said.
What did I say?
You said he was the sister of Mary.
No, I said whose sister is Mary? You're hearing what you want to hear, Grant. Picking on me. See how you are? No respect, I tell you. My own son. Wow. Shh. Huh? Mine own, yes. We don't know anything about his father. Nothing said about Mark's father. I'm sure he existed. Mark was there. Ma'am? Yeah.
I'm just saying what you said, we don't know anything.
Yeah, we don't know anything. Nothing said about Mark's father.
Do we know anything about Timothy's father?
I don't think so, but you can look that up.
Yeah, I was just curious.
I don't believe there's anything said about Timothy's father.
Exactly.
What? Nothing said about Timothy's father? I didn't think so.
Just mother and grandmother.
Yeah. Mark is believed to have been the one who fled naked when Jesus was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane. What was Mark doing naked in the garden?
We won't even say.
We're going to,
Not even touch it.
but also, he's the only one that records the incident. He calls himself out. That's humbleness right there.
Probably shows a good bit of growth on it.
That is, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I could have been, I know I wouldn't have named myself. I'd just been like, yeah, there's just some weird dude streaking around the neighborhood or whatever, and I don't know.
That kind of makes it even better. It kind of shows even more growth in some ways.
Yeah,
Like you're fully detaching yourself from that.
right, yeah.
Wasn't Peter in the boat naked too?
Well, no, he wasn't totally naked. They still had their loincloths. So I imagine this was the same with Mark. Mark had his loincloth. I mean, it would have been improper for him to not have his underwear.
Right.
Yes, Jamie?
If their chest was showing
That was naked.
and their legs were showing, they were naked. So
Yeah.
Yes, I mean.
Yeah. Chest and legs are showing. If they're bare, then
When you
That's
say
inappropriate.
naked in the scriptures is different from what we would call.
right. Yes, that would be very different.
Would be indeed.
Now, when it says that Adam and Eve were naked, they were.
That's correct.
That is correct. They were, because they had no shame at that point. They didn't know.
There's a difference in the Greek naked and the.
Hebrew naked. Yes, the difference between Greek and Hebrew.
Clothes had not been invented then.
Ma'am?
Clothes had not been.
Clothes, they had no need for it. They did not know that they needed to be embarrassed about their bodies. And, you know, I'm glad that we are embarrassed about our bodies right now, because that would be, you know, yeah. But, you know, I mean, at least that once you get past that naked time phase of our childhood, you know, running, streaking across the house because that wind feels good. I don't know. Yeah, I think we all went through that phase, but, you know. But not Jamie. Jamie was, you know, perfect. Perfect.
Like wearing clothes.
Mark 14, verses 51 to 52. And there followed him a certain young man having a linen cloth cast about his naked body. And remember, naked, chest naked, legs naked, still has the loincloth on. And the young men laid hold on him. Who are the young men?
Also, I would imagine.
The soldiers.
That's
Soldiers would have laid their hands on him. And he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked. I mean, so I have a question. What is he doing just walking around the Garden of Gethsemane with just a cloth on? Hiding his underoos. I mean,
maybe that's why.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying that's kind of improper.
Maybe that's why Maybe that's why this was such a transformative experience. For him.
It may have been a transformative experience. That's very true.
That may
I mean-
have been why he included it.
I mean, I can't imagine how warm, how humid it would have been,
Right.
you know, but
I was more thinking he would.
I would probably prefer to have more clothes on.
I was more thinking he was in some sort of altered mental state, but you know.
Well, he was pretty tired, so that's
No, I was more thinking he was a little drunk, but
No, not necessarily drunk. Drunk from not sleeping.
Maybe, yeah.
I've been there. So yeah, so that's Mark calling himself out, not directly, but it's possible. It's supposed. He's not directly called out, but it's supposed that that was him.
He knew who he was.
Yeah, and the fact that he's the only one in the Gospels that mentions it, that's the only way that they have any bearing on, why it might be him.
Even amidst the true disciples, the true who actually were apostles who were there at this situation.
Yes, exactly. His name first appears in the Bible at the time of James's martyrdom and Peter's arrest. Acts chapter 12, verse 12 through 17. And when he had considered the thing, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. And as Peter knocked at the door of the gate, a damsel came to hearken named Rhoda, not the one you see on TV in the 70s. And when she knew Peter's voice, she opened not the gate for gladness, but ran in and told how Peter stood before the gate. And they said unto her, Thou art mad. But she constantly affirmed that it was even so. And then said they, It is his angel. We don't get angels. that I'm aware of, but I mean, maybe it happened. I don't know. Poppy should be here. But Peter continued knocking, and when they had opened the door and saw him, they were astonished. But he, beckoning unto them with the hand to hold their peace, declared unto them how the Lord had brought him out of the prison. And he said, Go, show these things unto James and the brethren. And he departed and went into another place. He is believed to have been both a convert and later associate of Peter, because Peter referred to him as his own son in the faith, as Paul did of Timothy. Remember Timothy, as we were talking about before? Timothy, we didn't no idea who Timothy's dad was. We don't know if he died, if he went to get milk and then returned. We don't know. But Peter refers to him as his own son in the faith. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 13. The church that is at Babylon, elected together with you, saluteth you, and so doth Marcus my son. Marcus being a different version of Mark. Unto Timothy, mine own, this is 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 2, Paul's writing, Unto Timothy, mine own son, in the faith, grace, mercy, and peace from God our Father and Jesus Christ our Lord. About AD 44, Mark went from Jerusalem to Antioch with Paul and Barnabas, and later started with them on their first missionary journey. But he turned back in Pamphylia, which is also now known as Turkey, not Constantinople. That was later. That was in between. So if you have a date in Constantinople, she'll be waiting in Istanbul. Sorry. Couldn't help myself. Acts chapter 13, verse 3. And when they had fasted and prayed and laid their hands on them, they sent them away. Yes. So this was the beginning. I'm sorry. We just talked about laying hands on them, and there was the soldiers. This is the congregation at Jerusalem, and I want to say, or Antioch, and this is where they're sending them off. They laid their hands on them as a blessing.
Not what we typically think of laying on hands in this context.
Yes, not the laying on hands where you're healing somebody or doing whatever.
I was going to say hitting them, attacking them.
Hitting them, attacking them. Now, Grant, why do you have to go to violence every time?
Well, that's simply what
Do
you
we need to talk on the way home?
laying hands on someone.
What's that?
That's what we typically think.
No, that's throwing hands.
Yeah, we also say unhand me. They're seizing them or something.
Okay. All right. We'll go with that. Right on.
Continue.
Moving on.
Either way, it's an important distinction.
It is an important distinction. Yes, thank you, Grant. But they're praying first.
Exactly.
So why would they be throwing hands at them? I mean, I don't know. Anyways. Told you. This is all courtesy of me. And him. So that's right. It's more organic that way. And everyone wants organic these days. And we're giving it to you for free. We're not even charging extra. Later, about AD 50, Mark wanted to go with Paul and Barnabas on their second missionary journey, but Paul firmly refused to let him go. Why was that? What's that? Well, y'all were here with the Paul lesson also. Your memory's better than mine is. If I remember correctly, it's because Mark went to Pamphylia, which is Turkey, not Constantinople. And that's why I think, if I remember correctly, yes, sir.
There was a agreement, John Mark left, Paul didn't think he should have.
Yep.
Thought he should have stuck with him, he didn't. Things got rough and he left, and Paul felt betrayed. You want to leave the Lord's work? Fine.
Yeah,
Got use for you. But then later, he says he would be a help.
yeah.
So apparently that,
So not,
between the time that he left them and the time that Paul asked for him to come back, apparently he had matured.
yep, that's, very much, yeah.
Perhaps both he and Paul are matured. Who knows? That's sort of my get from it.
Yeah, I mean, Paul could have built some character and stuff,
Considering the fact that Paul was abrasive at times.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could all be abrasive at times,
Exactly.
And then Paul and Barnabas parted missionary company. Paul took Silas instead and went to Asia Minor and to the European continent. And Barnabas took his nephew John Mark and sailed for Cyprus, their native land. Acts chapter 15, verse 36 to 41. And some days after Paul said unto Barnabas, let us go again and visit our brethren in every city where we have preached the word of the Lord, and see how they do. And Barnabas determined to take with them John, whose surname was Mark. But Paul thought not good to take him with them, who departed from them from Pamphylia, and went not with them to the work. So like Jamie was saying, he was upset that Mark left them the last time, so no, you're not coming this time. I can't count on you. And perhaps he was afraid that Mark would leave Barnabas this time. And the contention was so sharp between them that they departed asunder from one to the other, and so Barnabas took Mark and sailed into Cyprus. And Paul chose Silas and departed, being recommended by the brethren unto the grace of God. And he went through Syria and Cilicia, confirming the churches. Thank you, Jamie. About AD 62, Mark appeared with Paul in Rome. Aristarchus, Colossians chapter 4, verse 10, Aristarchus, my fellow prisoner, saluteth you, and Marcus, sister's son to Barnabas, touching whom ye received commandments. If he come unto you, receive him. So this was a letter to the Colossians saying, if these men come unto you, receive them. They've got our approval. So, like a passport kind of thing. Marcus, Aristarchus, Demas, Lucas, my fellow laborers. Yes, ma'am.
They would have, that's sort of the precursor to where we have, our pastor called other pastors and said, such and such, whatever.
If you're transferring from one church to another.
Right, that's where that started from, is
Right.
this kind of thing.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
Introducing the people and saying, they're going out on mission work and they're looking for places to go to, share their work with you, and if you would like to take them on to, for help and support. And that's that type of thing.
Yeah, letter of recommendation.
It's a recommendation.
Yep.
Because they don't know them from
Yeah.
they don't know them from anyone, so.
Exactly.
They have to have some kind of something that's saying they're official.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what that is. And when we want
They didn't have social media back then. They couldn't look them up on Facebook or Indeed or anything.
the social media and that type of thing, when you're going from church to church and you're looking for support,
Yeah.
social media is not.
No, that's not going to help you much.
No.
But you can at least know who's there and are these people legit? So
Right.
I know that when Jesus was telling his disciples, there'd be many coming in my name, so they didn't know who.
Right.
exactly, you're going to have imposters, and this was a way for them to know that no, these are not imposters. These are real people. These are people that we have sent you. Very good. Thank you, Sister Milicia. Then some 4 or 5 years later, shortly before Paul's martyrdom, he wrote Timothy in Ephesus. requesting that he bring Mark and come to him in Rome. So this is how we get Mark in Rome with Paul. For he, quote, for he is profitable to me for the ministry. So all of a sudden, Mark is profitable. Sweet, right on. Apparently, Mark has grown in character, and also probably maturity in spiritual matters, which we all should be maturing in our own walk with the Lord. If you've been saved for 25, 30 years, and you still are chewing on you're still feeding off the milk and the honey, you need to reevaluate what's going on. That is not a good example for younger Christians, for younger saved people. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 11. Only Luke is with me. Take Mark and bring him with thee, for he is profitable to me for the ministry. Yes, ma'am.
Well, you just think about when my husband's mother was, when he was small and young and all that, and even before then, the women a lot of times didn't go to church. They didn't have their own Bibles. They didn't have the ministries that we have today with women.
Right.
And so therefore, a lot of the women didn't grow in the Lord like men did. They didn't think it was really necessary, and so they didn't grow like that. So therefore, it's of these later years that women have been more into the Word because of the fact that they've been encouraged more.
Yes.
And so sometimes that's what makes a difference. And then back then, the younger ones weren't as encouraged to get into it as much as yours and Jamie's age, and that they expected you to get to that age before that you could be adult enough to do it.
Yeah.
So therefore, when you get, even today, there's a lot of people that, and women especially, that they don't do much because everybody expects the men to do it.
Right.
And so therefore, they don't encourage the women to study, to have Bible studies, to this and that and the other. We're just a tag along.
Or you have the opposite, where the men aren't mature enough emotionally to start anything, and the women are the one that have to take over and allow the men to be the man-child that they want to be, and they don't hold them accountable for what they should be doing. And that would be a very immature church. Unfortunately, and also very immature family. But unfortunately, we do see that a lot. The men are allowed to stay the young child that they were in high school, and the woman is the one that picks up everything because the man won't do anything except play his video games, ride out with his friends, and do whatever. Saw a lot in Maine, and I'm seeing a lot of it these days, where the women are the money earners, and the husband's just doing work for his projects or stuff, which is really sad. It's really sad, but it's the time. It's sign of the times.
Well, that's always been from what I can tell.
Not always been. Not always been. This has been a rapidly escalating development in the past 30, 40 years. So.
There was a time when a young boy's whole desire was to be a man.
Right.
And earn his way.
Yes.
And gradually, they have allowed for women to take it over.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's less caring, it's more satanic.
Right.
Because that's the way Satan's teaching.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Young boys are today being taught, be feminine,
mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to cry. Well, it's making.
They're taking it way too far. There's a point at where emotional health is good, but they take it to the extreme. There's no buffer area right there. So yeah, absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Another thing, a lot of pastors, if you have young men in the church, and you pastors should give them the opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to grow, to do devotions, to be helpful in class, to do the leading, the singing, to do all these things. But a lot of preachers don't want to give up that power.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we had that up in Maine.
And so therefore, they never learn anything about how to do what's the right way, what's the wrong way.
They have no, well, they also don't have any ownership.
Right, right.
So
So
it's,
therefore, that may be where that John Mark was, he had never, because they didn't teach him that unless you were put in the
roll.
role of
Mhm.
going into that, they didn't do anything. They weren't allowed to do anything.
Right.
So therefore, he probably was one of those that had to be taught at a later age, which was more difficult for him to accept it, because, wait a minute, I'm such and such an age, I don't need to listen to you, I can do, no, that's not the way it is when you're in the Lord's Word.
Well, you remember up in Maine when we opened up Silver's Mills? What was the first job that I had up there?
Lead music,
No.
no,
No, that was Rumford. When we were in Silver's Mills, my first role up there was Sunday school teacher.
oh, yes, yes.
And I looked at y'all when y'all looked at me, and I was like, there ain't no way. I don't know enough right now. I'm still learning. And Poppy's reply was, but if you teach, you'll learn.
That's right.
And sure enough, and here I am. You can blame Joe. You can blame Joe.
Still learning.
Still learning. Oh, dude, I never stop learning. I never stop learning.
But that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you hadn't had the confidence that Poppy had in you, you probably wouldn't have done it.
Oh no, I would have done it because I was told to do it, and that's what the Army told me. You know, if you're told to do it, you do it.
I think she's saying if Poppy hadn't had the confidence in you to elect you to that position.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's thank you, Grant. That's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And a lot of men, they didn't do the right thing with them, and they didn't know their sons. They didn't know what they could do. And they didn't pay attention to them. That type of thing. And you have to be astute to be able to do that, but you also have to have confidence
Mm-hmm.
in your young people.
And how do you get confident? You do it.
And be willing to let them be wrong.
Yes.
And make the mistakes.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. All right. Let's see. Moving on. Though John Mark was not an apostle, he was for much of his life an associate of the apostles Peter and Paul. Tradition states that Mark went to Alexandria, Egypt, established churches there, and died as a Christian martyr under the reign of Nero. Do we remember how Mark died? Oh, okay.
But what I was
If it had to do with Nero, it wasn't pleasant.
No, but see, he has now grown the steps
Mm-hmm.
that he's needed to do what, if he hadn't gone to that other place, he
Yeah.
might not have grown.
Right.
He might have expected Paul to tell him, well, what do I do now? Where do I go? What do I say? Da, da, da.
Well, what does Romans 8:28 tell us?
We know that all things will work out to good for them who love God and are called according to His
Can you say it loud enough for the microphones?
For we know that all things work out for good for the
Work together.
Work together for good.
work together for good for them for those who love God and are called according to His purpose.
Absolutely. What were you saying, Jamie?
I was gonna say I lost it now because.
I get it.
But,
No worries.
yeah, it's gone.
That's okay. All right. Okay, moving on. Who's Mark writing to? This is if y'all are paying attention, these are the rules of interpretation. Yes, sir.
He died as a Christian martyr under the reign of Nero. According to history, he was crucified in an upside down.
That was Mark that was crucified upside down?
Upside down X X-shaped cross.
I thought
Upside down X shape, huh?
I thought that was one of the other apostles.
Oh, Peter
Two of them were.
Yeah.
Peter was crucified upside down on a crucifix, but it was a traditional crucifix.
Yes.
Mark was starfished,
I could
upside down.
I could have sworn there was someone else, like you said,
There was two of them,
Yes.
and Mark was one.
yeah, okay.
And wasn't Peter the other one?
Peter was his inverted cross.
Yeah, yeah.
Both of them are.
How could you tell if the cross was inverted? I mean, the X cross was inverted.
Yeah, because
I'm
it
kidding.
just mixed as he was inverted. He was
Yeah,
upside down.
I know.
I'm assuming they,
It's like when you tell somebody the circle's upside down, you know.
I'm assuming there was a lot of blood that had rushed to his head and they.
Oh, yeah, guaranteed.
Truthfully, the cross, the standard cross that Jesus was crucified on was more agonizing because
Oh.
it lasted longer.
Right.
Inversion caused the death to happen faster.
Right.
Yeah. You would die of,
More humane, I guess. It was, I guess, more excruciating 'cause it went
you
faster. but
you die of encephalopathy or encephalitis, yeah.
But
massive strokes.
yes, but it was, Peter asked for that, so it wouldn't, according to history, Peter and the rest of the apostles asked for that, so it would be unlike what Jesus had.
Right, yeah.
They did not want to be compared to
Jesus' crucifixion,
Jesus' crucifixion
Right.
in any way.
yeah. So this gospel, what's that?
According to history.
According to history, yes. According to Fox's Book of Martyrs. This gospel by Mark was written to and for the Romans, men of actions, and presents Jesus as the servant son of God. As a servant, Jesus is presented as ministering more than, quote unquote, being ministered to. What were the instances where Jesus was ministered to?
The angels.
Mary Magdalene, what else?
The angels.
The angels, where?
After the temptations and.
After the temptations, and, huh?
In the Garden of Gethsemane.
And in the Garden of Gethsemane. Was there another one?
When they went to the tomb to take care of the deceased.
I'm more thinking about when he was anointed when his hair was anointed.
Oh, right, that wasn't Mary.
No, Mary did the feet.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not Mary Magdalene. Was that Mary the sister of
Mary's sister of Martha. Did
Martha? Yeah.
Yes.
Who anointed his hair? No. Was it Mary Magdalene?
Nobody anointed his hair.
I thought somebody anointed his hair.
Is it-
No.
Okay.
She anointed his feet and dried it.
That's right. My bad. Okay.
Her
There
hair.
was a second version of that too, that I know,
Yes.
it's in a different book.
Right.
I was thinking you were going to talk about, presumably ministered to when he went to visit Mary and Martha. I'm assuming that's more hospitality.
Yeah. But no, I was talking about I was more referring to the when the Bible says he was ministered to. Okay. Mark 10, verse 45. For even the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life a ransom for many. This is a servant. This is not somebody who comes down and says, I am king, worship me. Okay, this is humble, somebody who comes to serve others. And he served us in so many different ways. Because men are not interested in the genealogy of a servant, and no family lineage of Jesus was given by Mark. This is talking about the Romans. Okay? They didn't care. The Hebrews cared, but they didn't care. 6 reasons are suggested for the conclusion that Mark's gospel was written to and for the Roman Gentiles as Matthew's was written for the Jews. It appears that Roman readers may not otherwise have known that the Jordan was a river as well as a land. Which makes sense, because unless you've been there, they weren't geography students. Mark chapter 1, verse 5, and there went out unto him all the land of Judea, and they of Jerusalem, and were all baptized of him in the river Jordan, confessing their sins. That the Pharisees fasted often. May not have paid attention to the Pharisees. Why would you? They're always pompous. But anyways, moving on. Mark chapter 2, verse 8, And immediately when Jesus perceived in his spirit that they were so reasoned within themselves, he said unto them, Why reason ye these things in your hearts? This is when the Pharisees were picking on Jesus' disciples about why we were doing some things and not other things. That the Mount of Olives overlooked the temple area. Mark chapter 13, verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives over against the temple, Peter and James and John and Andrew asked him privately. So this is them understanding where certain things are in relation to other things. Mark translated several Aramaic terms for the benefit of the readers. Who thought that Roman soldiers wouldn't know what Aramaic was? I'm sure they heard it, but they may not have understood what it meant. First one, Boanerges. What's Boanerges? The sons of thunder. Chapter 3, verse 17. James, the son of Zebedee, and John, the brother of James, and he surnamed them Boanerges, which is the sons of thunder. Okay. Talitha Kumi. I don't remember seeing this word ever in the Bible, but
This is one that I remember.
Mark chapter 5, verse 41. And he took the damsel by the hand and said unto her, Talitha Kumi, or Kumai. Poppy's not here to correct me.
Kumi, I would imagine.
Is it Kumi? Okay.
I is in common for I sounds, or for the letter I.
Okay. Is that more Greek?
It's a diphthong. It's
The diphthong.
I.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Which is being interpreted, damsel, I say unto thee, arise. Talitha Kumi.
Very concise.
Hmm?
Very concise.
Very concise, yes. Ephphatha. Now this is a funny, I had to make sure that this was not a misspelling by, Ephphatha. It's like Jephthah. Ephphatha. And we have too many, when we waste our vowels and consonants and stuff. What was that, Jamie?
I was like, and how can you say that with a straight face?
I know, right. It's, how can you say that with a straight face? Mark chapter 7, verse 34. And looking up to heaven, he sighed and saith unto them, Ephphatha, that is, be opened. Ephphatha. What? God bless you? Oh, it's,
Say that with a straight face.
you all right? Look at me and stick out your tongue.
But they're used to that.
Oh, yeah, they were.
And so, and it really,
To us, it's foreign, but to them, it was just
right.
every day. Yeah.
That's the reason they don't, when you ask, well, how do you spell that? And they spell it and you're going,
That's how Ephphatha is spelled. That's how you spell it.
I would imagine though it's more like the sound is lengthened, like ephphatha, like sort of like in English where we said have some like unnamed, like two N's.
Like pizza.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's more like the sound is lengthened as opposed to pronounced twice.
But Ephphatha is more fun to
It
say.
is. I'm
Yeah.
simply saying that's probably more because of the fact that we use the Latin alphabet as opposed to something like the Greek, which does have an actual letter for f, as opposed for ph, as opposed to us using that.
Okay. Thank you.
This is just language nerd in me. Go on. It's okay.
No, that's fine. Nerd out, bud. Love it.
I'm saying the Aramaic probably had a more concise way of putting that.
Oh, I guarantee it was written way different.
Yes.
Yeah. And why they had to put two PHs together instead of just two Fs? Yeah, whatever.
That's because Greek didn't have an F. I'm assuming.
But the translators did.
Greek, they were trying to say Greek due to the Greek transliteration, and so it would be more.
Okay.
I get that's how it's written. That's
Yeah.
how they're always written PH for Greek, so I'm assuming they're trying to stay true to that.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. Now it's very confusing to us now.
It is very confusing. But it's still fun to say.
It is.
Yeah. And to look at.
It is.
Abba. Mark 14, verse 36. Oh, Abba. Not the group from the 70s that's really annoying earworms.
Not to be confused with the Swedish pop band,
Yes.
yes.
Mark 14, verse 36. And he said, Abba, Father, all things are possible unto thee. Take away this cup from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what thou wilt. And of course, Jesus' words on the cross. Mark 15, verse 34. And at the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which is being interpreted, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And if you notice, and I never even thought about this until, last night when I was studying it, the other three Gospels only record what is said, what we would, read as English. It would have been in the Greek or in the Latin or the Greek before it was translated, but Mark made sure it was written in Aramaic. So, yes, ma'am.
Have you ever thought about the fact that if you see someone that comes to church and they've not been to church and they're an adult, and you're reading these things, they have a hard time with it because it's foreign.
Mm-hmm.
Foreign to us when we were young.
Right.
But we grew up with it.
Right.
And so we were used to that, and so when we heard that, we understood what it was.
Yeah.
But when you're an adult and you haven't heard those before, and you try to say it, try to read it, they really feel like stupid.
Oh, yeah.
They can't pronounce it, but we've heard it.
Yeah, we've all got to feel stupid at some point.
But we've heard it so from child up, and it makes a difference in your education, and so that you feel like you're more part of it.
Mhm.
Because you can understand what you're saying.
And Mark was trying to reach the Romans this way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you call ABBA earworms?
The Swedish band, yes. They're earworms. The worst. Almost as bad as Jonas Brothers. I will stand on that mountain, I will fight you.
Don't fight me, fight Brother John.
That's okay, John. John, I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you, brother. But you've got to just let go, man. Let it die. Let them die in the 70s where they need to be.
Getting some text when you do it.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, text me. Text me. I'll go toe to toe. I will stand on that mountain. I will fight you hard. Latin terms used by Romans are peculiarly used throughout the book as follows. Modius for bushel. Mark chapter 4, verse 21. And he said unto them, Is a candle brought to be put under a bushel or under a bed, and not to be set on a candlestick? Census for tribute. Mark chapter 12, verse 14. And when they were come, they say unto him, Master, we know that thou art true, and carest for no man, for thou regardest not the person of men, but teachest the way of the God in truth. Is it lawful for to give tribute to Caesar or not? Centurio for centurion, etc. Mark chapter 15, verse 39. And when the centurion which stood over against him saw that he so cried out and gave up the ghost, he said, Truly this man was the Son of God. Mark chapter 15, verse 44 through 45. And Pilate marveled as if he were already dead, and calling unto him the centurion, he asked him whether he had been any while dead. And when he knew it of the centurion, he gave the body to Joseph. And since there are good Greek equivalents for these words, it seemed logically inferred that the gospel record was written for the Romans, though the message was for the whole world. And Mark only occasionally used a Latin term to explain a Greek word, like mites and farthings. Mites is the Greek, farthing is the Latin. Mark chapter 12, verse 42. And there came a certain poor widow, and she threw in 2 mites, which make a farthing. Hall, which is Greek, and praetorium, which is Latin. Mark chapter 15, verse 16. And the soldiers led him away into the hall, called praetorium, and they called together the whole band. Because they're in a jam, Because I'm sure the praetorium had great acoustics. And about what is he writing? And he writes of the beginning of the gospel of Christ. the beginning of the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, setting forth an inspired history of the public ministry of John the Baptist, the forerunner of Jesus Christ, and then the servant, son, Messiah ministry of Jesus Christ. The twofold ministry of Jesus as servant and redeemer is set forth. Mark chapter 10, verse 45, for even the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many. The book is also divided in this twofold manner as follows. Teaching, preaching, and healing ministry of Jesus, Mark chapters 1 through 10. And then the events surrounding his redemptive death, the resurrection, Mark chapters 11 through 16. Blank slide. Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate that. Little chance to catch my breath, you know. When is he writing? Mark seems to have been written near the end of Paul's ministry. Perhaps by Mark from Rome while visiting Paul there about AD 60 to 66. Because in Mark chapter 15, verse 31, likewise also the chief priest mocking said among themselves with the scribes, he saved others, himself he cannot save. Wait, is that the reference I put in there? Oh. Chapter 10, verse 45. Wait, no. Yeah, 5:30. I don't know why. 5:30. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Mark chapter what?
15:31. Yeah. No, it's right. It's right. I think somebody messed up on Brother Garner's. Was that?
I'm looking at it.
Oh, I'm reading it from here. It's the.
It's what it says 1531.
Yeah, but it's not where he was.
Yeah. No. Moving on. Simon a Cyrenian, the father of Alexander and Rufus, is identified as the bearer of Jesus' cross, and Paul saluted Rufus in his letter. Romans chapter 16, verse 13. Salute Rufus, chosen in the Lord, and his mother and mine. If it is the same Rufus, it may be concluded that Mark wrote the letter to Gentile believers in Rome, where Rufus lived, or from Rome to readers who knew the family of Alexander and Rufus. What was the occasion? Because the Roman mind was interested in action and power more than family lineage or genealogy, Mark omitted the birth and childhood of Jesus and went directly to his miracle ministry to establish the deity of the Master. To appeal to the Gentile Roman mind was that was attuned to servants and servant action. Mark is distinguished by its use of the Greek adverb euthus, which is Greek number 2112 in your Strong's Concordance, if you have your Strong's Concordance. 42 times more than in all of the rest of the New Testament. And is translated forthwith, immediately, straightway, anon, suddenly. They're very action words. Very action words. This is the way a servant is to serve or obey his master. And this is how nature responded to the voice of God's Son servant. Immediately. When Jesus said, "Peace be still," immediately the water ceased. When Jesus cursed the fig tree, it immediately died. It immediately ceased to be. It went to tree heaven, also known as mulch. Was that? Compost, yes, there you go. All right, so that is our study on who Mark is. Next week, we'll start with chapter 1, and as we found out, there's only 18 chapters in Mark, short book, and then we'll move on to Luke, and from Luke, we'll move on to the Acts. So
you're not going to ask how Mark is? I see.
Huh?
You're not going to ask how Mark is?
Well, he's dead. That's how Mark is right now. Back then, he was alive.
Exactly.
That's not part of the rules of interpretation, Grant. You know this.
That's
You know this. All right. So don't forget to like, subscribe, ask all the beautiful questions, click the bell for updates for our live broadcast, and leave your questions in the comments. Somebody will get back to you. Somebody like John who likes Abba will get back to you because he's smart.
Apparently smart people like Abba. Good to know.
Remember that whole tongue-in-cheek at the beginning? Yeah.
Apparently smart people like Abba. Good to know.
But we love you, Brother John. We love you. All right. Do we have any further questions, comments, observations?
If Abba is father, what is mother?
Yeah, that's a good question. What is mother in? What's the opposite of father? We'll find out.
Absent.
Absent? Wow.
That will look it up.
Yeah. Hey, John. Oh, me? Oh, okay. I will have you an answer by Sunday. So it means,
By Wednesday.
no, Sunday, because that's next time I'll see Sister Melissa. I'll put the answer in the comments.
There you go.
If you know, put the answer in the comments. There you go. I want the Strong's Greek Concordance for that also. Oh, never mind. I'm still on. Oh, please don't have. It's not elsewhere. What? Brother Jamie, could you pray us out, please?
He can't. No, he can't. He has to do the outro.
Oh, that's true. My bad. Okay. Sister Ann, would you pray us out?